dolls. We're going to try this again. Everybody was saying that they couldn't see me, that the camera was blurry. So hopefully it will work this time. All right. So I'm going to start this live over again. Let me share it with Derek. Let me go through right here. Boom. All right. Can y'all see me now? Am I blurry? Hopefully it'll work this time. Hopefully it will work this time. The pic is clear. Perfect. Okay. Can y'all see me? We're going to continue. I see y'all. I see y'all. I see y'all. Welcome as you come in.
There we are. Can y'all see me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Yes, my question, I was asking you, what was it like growing up from the ground up, Youngstown, Ohio, a young man with aspirations and dreams of making films and series, and I compared you to Spike Lee because Spike Lee, as I stated, do the right thing. He got game. School Days, which is a cult classic. I mean, if you are into historically black colleges and universities, we look at shows like A Different World. That's kind of puts that right there in that same similarity. And I say that to say this: he had to get it from the ground up, and so did so many other black filmmakers and producers. For you, what was the age that you knew that filmmaking and writing and producing was something that you wanted to major in, or
Man,
specialize
I remember in high school when Spike first came out, She's Got to Have It. I was blown away because I never
in?
seen
Not about that.
anyone who wrote it, starred in it, produced it, directed it. And I didn't even know what a director was really. But it attracted me. It was something in my inner being that was like music to me. So I remember writing it down on my notepad in high school. And one of my partners, Rick Ferguson, out of South, Youngstown South, shout out. He was like, when I done my movie Get on the Storm, he reached back out to me, said, man, him and my boy Lou, man, I remember you said you was going to be the writer, producer, director, actor, and you doing it. And I always tell people, like, it took me a long time to get to this point because, it's a long journey. It just didn't happen. I'm a man, I'm well seasoned. I look young, but I got a couple of decades and some centuries and two millennia behind me. So it took me a minute, but I did meet my goal. So saying all that, I always was a storyteller. I always liked to tell stories. I remember writing a poem, was in a newspaper one time when I was like in the third grade. And my English teacher always liked my storytelling when I would have projects. But I didn't know what a filmmaker was. So when I went to the service, I even bought a book called Screenwriting by Sid Feld. And I read it, but I still didn't know what to do. And then I got out the Navy, went back to Ohio, moved to Columbus, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go to film school, but life happens. I never went, ended up getting a job, got married, had kids. But what happened was, I remember seeing Master P's Bout It. And when I saw it, I
Mm,
said, something went off in me. I said, I'm gonna do that. If he could do that, I could do it. So I wrote a script in like an hour, put all my friends together from the bank I was working at, and I bought a camcorder. It didn't even have a battery pack. It had a long extension cord, and we shot our movie Atonement and rode around for 2 weekends. It was 5 days, 2 weekends: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, and I learned how to edit it at the Community Access Channel, and I sold Atonement out the trunk of my car for $10. I remember making $2,000 off a $6.95 movie, and that let me know it was a business, but I was able to take pen to distribution, regardless of the circumstances, regardless no one hardly ever seen except locally. But it showed me that I was capable of doing what my mind can set out to do. And then I didn't do anything until I did Get on the Storm with Karen White, maybe what, 15, 20 years later. So
yes, in
there
2020,
it is. That was
and
it. But I attribute Spike Lee and Melvin Van Peebles because Spike led me to
20,
Melvin Van Peebles, and then it led me to a whole bunch of other directors. Oscar Micheaux, who's the godfather of black filmmaking, who did 44 movies outside of Hollywood. He's the godfather. He's the GOAT, the greatest of all time, because he did it at a time where he couldn't even go in the theater. He had to rent the theater when white people were done. So, and he would pass out flyers in the hood, and they would come and see his movies. And he had race films, they call it, and he had us on screen, which was never done or seen before. And then nothing happened until the Black exploitation with Mel Van Peebles and Gordon Parks. And here you come 10 years, 20 years later with Spike Lee. And Robert
And
Townsend.
here we
I can't forget that.
Hollywood Shuffle. We can't forget that.
Right, because Robert was on the West Coast, Spike was on the East Coast, and it was around the same time. And they all had the same quest of making films, and they like the GOAT. And then John Singleton was birthed out of that.
Oh yeah, Boys in the Hood. These are all cult classic films and filmmakers, and they started from the ground up, from here to where we are currently right now. And now you've got directors like Ryan Coogler, who is absolutely killing it in the box office. I mean, sirs, if you haven't seen it, you need to go and see it. But Black Panther topped the cake. There's Black Panther 1, and then there's Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So, I mean, the third one is Denzel Washington. If you guys haven't heard, it's going to be in the third one. He tapped Denzel. He wanted to work with Denzel in this third installment of the Black Panther franchise. So make sure that you are all staying tuned for that. It is going to be coming. It's going to be coming, I think, later sometime next year. I'm not sure. But he's working on something. So you just have to stay tuned. Ryan Coogler is definitely one that is out here making headlines. And it's more and more Black filmmakers like Ryan Coogler and like yourself, Derek, that are out here breaking and shattering those glass ceilings so that the next generation of up-and-coming filmmakers and producers and writers follow along right in your path. And that was a question that I wanted to ask you, too, because I remember doing a panel with two filmmakers, shout-outs to Ronson Hawkins and De-Datification, and we were talking about the importance in this climate that we're in right now of Black storytelling, the art of Black storytelling, and telling our stories. How important is that as a filmmaker and as a writer and producer?
You know, it's very important, especially as an independent filmmaker. You know, the one who broke the mold was Mel Van Peebles when he did Sweet Sweet
Oh, yeah.
Badass Song. And he did it by himself. And he got into a jam, and Bill Cosby gave him money to finish the movie. And at that time, he did everything by himself as the community, for the community. And he made $10 million back then, which probably would have been $100 million to this date. And it was phenomenal. Now, Sweet Sweet Badass Song was revolutionized Black Hollywood, Black exploitation to a degree, because Black exploitation films saved Hollywood from going bankrupt. Shaft, Superfly, Coffee, Friday, all those movies in the 70s saved Hollywood, just like Blade saved Marvel from bankruptcy. But the issue is we never really had a say, because when they started doing Black exploitation films, they took the worst of our people, not the doctors, the lawyers, the policemen, the firemen, the school teachers. They took the pimps, the junkies, the prostitutes, the gangsters, the lowlifes, right? And they put that on screen. And they did that intentionally because film shaped your mind. So if you see a young Black man, even with me coming up, and I see Tarzan in the jungle and all he's doing is beating up Black people, I want to be the hero. And that makes you have a inferiority complex. So it's vital for the new up and coming filmmakers, especially the independent ones, not so much the studio, because when you're stealing with people's money outside of yours, you got to play to their tune. Ryan Coogler is a different case because he made his money and he negotiated a perfect deal for himself. But when you're independent, you have to, and I always tell people, make a film responsibly. Filmmaking should be responsibly done, like drinking and driving. Don't do it. You got to make a film responsibly because you owe it to your core audience. You know, I don't like oppression porn. I call it like a movie like Precious, where she walked down the street at the end of the movie with two mentally handicapped babies and HIV with nowhere to go. What I worked hard all week and I'm gonna see that on screen. I'm sad, I'm depressed. No, I don't mind struggle. I don't mind overcoming struggle, but you gotta give me something that make me get hope. Like, you know, with Shawshank Redemption, like with Forrest Gump, Benjamin Button. The movies make you feel good at the end of the day, and that's what we need. I'm saying this for me personally. I believe we should have films that make us be able to learn something from it, show how you can overcome your difficulty, deal and kill the bad guy, and have fun, and make it romantic, but also be responsible and show us how to overcome and win. I can't stand a movie if we not winning. And I'll turn it off because it's a psyop. You can't win in your own movie? Bill Street could talk. Nobody won. Nobody. I hate that. So I'm out on that one. We got to have some movies that make us be proud of, make us feel good about. And that's the mission I'm on.
You know what? I've sat with so many actors and they've talked about, am I still pixelated, y'all, or can y'all see me?
I can see you.
Perfect. Um, I've sat with so many actors on this platform here, black actors, male actors, and they were saying the thing about us is, Miss Stevie, they typecast us to to portray one specific role in the films, in the business. Why do they do that? We're so much more than that. And not just for black male actors, but for black female actresses. We're either the prostitute or the what is it? The prostitute or the
Loud
deadbeat
woman,
mom.
the deadbeat, yeah.
Loud.
Right.
You know what? Leslie Jones said the same exact thing. She says they always cast me as the loudmouth best friend. I want to step outside of my norm. And for black actors, that has always been a thing. And I can tell you one person who has shown us constantly, one actress who I absolutely love, who I think has always reinvented herself and shown us her in a different light. And that is Viola Davis. That woman makes you feel so many different things. I call her the woman king, Derek. Like she gives you goosebumps just looking at her. Like Annalise Keaton, How to Get Away with Murder. She's played these powerful women, and she makes you feel something at the end of the day. Like you said, you got the good guy, you got the bad guy, and you said you want to win. Viola makes you feel that. We need more of that. So I get exactly what you're saying. And when you said that, they show us in this light, I got to turn off. I have been having conversations like that all throughout this week on my platform with actors. And just being typecast in this business as to portray one thing. Like, if you can show white actors in a certain light, why not show us in a certain light? We're lawyers, we're doctors, we have businesses. Show us in that light as well too, not just as the deadbeat mom or dad or the abusive boyfriend or the drug dealing boyfriend. All of these things. Give us something different. And I think that shows like Insecure, shows like Living Single. I mean, you got the lawyer, you got the woman who owns the magazine. That 4 black women in New York and the men in their lives.
Right.
So it shows everybody, not just love and relationships, but everybody doing their careers. You got the handyman, you got the one that wants to be an actress, you got the one that is looking for her Mr. Right, her sponsor, Regine. I was a little bit of Regine and Khadijah, by the way. But we need shows like that to showcase us in a different light, doing something productive other than the trauma, the pain. Precious was a powerful film, yes, but I want something that shows us in a different light. Halle Berry, when she first came out, and I love Halle Berry, we seen her in what? Jungle Fever. She played what? The junkie. Then she did Losing Isaiah. Then she did The Rich Man's Wife. Then we see her scantily clad as Catwoman, Monsters Ball. If you know, you know. What other
Right.
things has she done? Strictly Business, Boomerang. I mean, she's done so much. She's shown us time and time again. As an actress, you have to reinvent yourself in this business. As a performer, as an entertainer, to anybody, you have to show range. And that's one thing. Jennifer Lewis, she said that. She said, you got to be able to get out of your, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. She said, you got to be able to get out of your shit. You got to be able to get out of your shit, and you got to be able to walk into this character, because when you walk on set and you put on these characters' shoes, you're breathing life into this character, you're bringing this character to life. You make sure that you put your all into it and make this character so believable that people can either love or hate that character. So
Right.
that's what she said. That's what we have to do.
Yeah,
How
and you,
important is that, Derek, to make
it's
a
super
film come
important,
to life?
but it's super important. The thing is that like we don't control the dollars or the distribution. So when you're independent, you have to self-finance it. You got to find the distribution platforms. You got to come up with the budget. So when you playing with other people's money, they can dictate to you how they want it perceived. So the reason
Uh-huh.
why Ron Coogler and Sinners is important is because he had no new studio notes. He could do whatever he want. They gave him the money, and he made his film for himself. But he proven that he could do that by making the incredible Black Panther and Creed, and even before that, Fruitvale Station. So he worked hard to get to that point. But so it's a difference between studio and independent, you know. And the only one I know right now who can do whatever he would like to do is Tyler, because he has distribution, he has money, he got the studio, he got access to talent. So we have to ensure that he put out better quality film. Like, you know, I seen a couple of films recently that, you know, to me was a oppression porn and everybody was mean and I couldn't root for nobody. I want some films where I can root for you, even though it was widely successful, because he has a core audience that's going to be number one anytime he drop a film. Every time he drop a film, it's going to break office. It's going to break the record on Amazon or Netflix because he got a strong core audience. But I implore that we need to change the narrative where we're not fighting and killing and mean to one another constantly all day. Like even with the last movie with Straw, I mean, I couldn't root for nobody in that movie. Taraji, she played that part, but I'm like, damn, girl, you having a bad day. Good grief, go home and go to sleep. You know, it was just it was a lot. It was a lot. But nevertheless, everybody has their own taste. So my point is, I'm not gonna condemn nobody because making a film is so hard. It's actually
Yes.
you need a miracle to get a film done, especially when you don't have no money. And I always tell people, yeah, they be hating on Tubi movies, but them dudes in Detroit who makes those Tubi movies, they making it happen. And just to finish a film, you get an A. If it's good, you get a degree. So I'm rooting for everybody in this industry, and I have to run my race. And I'm not here to condemn nobody on how they get down. So to answer your question, yes, when it comes to typecasting, we have to be in a position of power where we can green light it, we can produce it, we can distribute it, we can also reap the ROI, the return on investment, and make sure we pay everybody a fair share, if not more.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off of what you just said about Tubi films, I've sat with a lot of actors that have done films off of Tubi. Independent filmmakers and producers is one that I want you to check out, Derek. And you also remind me of him. His name is Terry T. Miles. You've mentioned Master P. He's worked alongside Master P. And when I tell you his vision, his drive, like he has a no nonsense approach. He's straightforward, and almost every one of his projects, he's just like, yeah, I'm from wherever. I'm from the DC DMV area, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. And the message in his films, and I told him this in the interview. I said, yeah, you played a bad guy in these films, but there was one that he played where he was like this thug, like this mafia type character. And I said, must you always play the villain? But he said, in one of his interviews, he said, I want young men to see. Don't be like me, be better than me. That's what I want young black men to see. Watching me in this film and this project right here. Don't be like me. Be something different. So it's always a hidden underlying message in any one of these projects. So stop bashing these Tubi filmmakers out here. Let them do their thing. They are on their way to the next level so they can be, and Aunjanue Ellis, she said this quote, I'm not looking to get a seat at the table. I'm looking to get acres of land. I'm looking to carve my own path out. This is what's important for me as a black filmmaker. Because we know that in this business, if you look like this, if you look like this scream, they're not going to give you an opportunity. Everything
Right,
is majority white. So it is
right.
important that we continue to build opportunities for ourselves. We continue to support the Black Arts, NAACP Image Awards, uh, y'all still throwing shade at the BET Awards and the Soul Train Awards. Continue to support this because back in the day, believe it or not, MTV would not play black artists.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Prince and Michael Jackson was the only one. Lionel Richie. That was it.
Whitney, who I know is
And
one
we,
of Karen's.
yeah, yeah. You absolutely right about that. You know, the key thing too is that we have, as black people, we have everything we need. Damn sure I mean, we got the talent for sure. We the one that set the trends. We the ones that they hijack our swag from uh ragtime to jazz to country to rock and roll to
Oh, wait,
R&B to hip hop. They jack our swag and we don't get the revenue in return. You understand? Because business is the word business is longer than the word show. So we also have to know the business side of it. And one of the beautiful things now with modern technology, even in the filmmaking aspect of it, is that you don't have to have $100,000 camera. You can make a movie on your iPhone. I know Steven Soderbergh made 2 movies on his iPhone. He made Flying High, Flying High Rebound, I think was something like that on his iPhone, as well as Sudden Move with Don Cheadle, Bill Duke, Benicio del Toro. So the excuse of having to have big time camera work is over with because the iPhone shoot 4K right now, shooting 8K. So you could do it. You just got to put your mind to it. And I always say, desire feeds the will. And you know, we're excited about what we got coming up in the future in our own with my own company and our own projects we got lined up.
Yes, tell us about your company. Now, you are the founder of Mecca Films LLC. So tell us a little bit about your company and building it up from the beginning, from the get-go.
You know, the beautiful part is Mecca Films. We want to produce high quality, engaging, and cultural films with a micro budget for right now until we're able to raise the budget standard. By me being able to have done Gale and Storm with a very modest budget, but we made it look like we had a lot more money. And we shot it in 7 days, and we didn't have no name talent. Well, we had real talent, but no notable name other than Karen in it. But what we were able to do with that, I was able to leverage what we done with Gale and the Storm to find other projects that not only just act in or produce in, but also become a director. So my next project right now is called Peg for Murder, which is being produced by Man Robinson Studios in Atlanta, and we're slated to shoot that July 18th. So I'm in pre-production right now. Uh, and that's a film, a psychological thriller about 5 guys waking up in a room, drugged, and they got to play a game of homicide, suicide to see who's going to get the antidote based on the crime that they committed years ago. So it's really intense. I'm excited about the project. And then the next one I got on deck right now is called Blood Debt, which is about a retired contract worker who actually was a contract worker for the CIA and the government, but he's married and he got a stepson and get involved with some cartel stuff, and he got to break out his old skill set to save family.
Right? So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Stay tuned, Mecca Films. We need to be supporting black filmmakers and directors, writers, producers more than ever. Black Enterprise gives a lot of information. There's so many outlets out here that give a lot of information. My platform, I give a lot of information. You guys know that I am pro-black and I support black filmmakers, black artists, and and when you said that, my eyes lit. The reason why my eyes lit up when you said that about them stealing the culture, because you knew who I was about to reference, Beyonce. When she came out with her album, the white community, it's like some of them were like Dolly Parton, and I love Dolly Parton, love her. But then there was some that just like didn't want to play her music on the airwaves. That made me think of MTV and how MTV did not want to play black artists at
Right.
the time. And it's like there were black country singers there, like Rosetta Tharpe. You cannot forget Rosetta Tharpe.
Charlie
If it
Pride.
wasn't, yes, there's so many. But they think that country music only belongs to them. We've been doing this. Rhythm and blues, bluegrass, country. We've been doing this. We are the innovators of music, fashion, film. We are the innovators. And it is about time that we get what is so rightfully due to us. But y'all are shook. What was his name? Shabuzi? Shabuzi just looked like, okay, if y'all seen the video, the Grammy. And he gave a statement the next day saying, okay, it's time for y'all to start recognizing black music artists and country music. That is a conversation that needs to be had. Because I think the third installment of the Renaissance album is probably going to be rock and roll. That's what they're saying, because she gave us dance electronica. And she's one of the first black women to win in that category. Because, I mean, if you can go all the way back in time for house or dance electronica, I think of Robin S.
Right.
I think of Crystal Waters.
Right.
I think of Sybil, just to name a few. Vesta is another one. So, I mean, the list goes on and on. But for Beyonce to be breaking down barriers and showing that, hey, you've got so many other black country artists out here, I'm going to include them. That's what we need more of. So when you said that, I said, I know where you're going, Derek, because I have been thinking it, and other people have been saying it as well, too. It is about time that they start recognizing black music artists and country music as well, too. Beyonce is not a monolith as it pertains to her music. And as you mentioned with Prince, Prince wasn't a monolith either. Prince said, you know what? You're not going to place me in a box. And as an artist, you don't want to keep sounding the same. You got to switch it up on each album. I'm a big Mary fan. I love Mary J. Blige. I love her. She came out with 411. It's just like, okay, girl, we feel it. We feel it. Then she gave us My Life. And it's just like, wow. Okay, she's a woman. We see where she's coming from as a woman. We see what she means when she says, you look into my life and you see what I see. We feel her pain. We feel all of these things. Then she gave us Share My World. So every album is going to sound different, and that's the same for Karen. When she gave us Ritual of Love, and then she gave us, what's the next one? Make him Do Right. So, I mean, there's always something for an artist to have to go back in and reinvent themselves. Another artist would be Janet. I'm a big Janet fan. And yes, I love the Velvet Rope tour. Number 19 on Velvet Rope is my favorite, Rope Burn. But Janet, when she first came out, it was very, how can I say it? It was very popular. It was very youthful because she wanted to branch off from her brothers. And then she gave us what? Rhythm Nation, Control. Then she gave us Janet, where we see her evolve as a woman. Then she gave us Velvet Rope, where she really went there. And it's just like, whoa, mama. Then she gave us All For You. So if you've seen the Hawaii tour with her in that leather, yes, you in trouble.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
All of these artists, all of these women that I just named, including Prince as well, too. Prince was in a category of his own. He's just like, you're not going to place me in a box. I'm going to do rock and roll, then I'm going to do R&B. And it's the same for Beyonce. Beyonce shouldn't be placed in a box. No artist likes to be placed in a box. I mean, you can go all the way back to Patti LaBelle. Patti LaBelle would do a gospel song. And then she'll do an R&B song. The same for Dionne Warwick, or the same for Fantasia. And I love Fantasia. She just celebrated her birthday yesterday. Oh, Fantasia will give you a gospel song, and then she'll go back to giving you songs that make you think, that make you want to fall in love. It's the same for Jill Scott. So, I mean, every artist is not a monolith. They don't like being placed in a box or labeled. It's just like, let me focus on my craft. You enjoy this music, you listen to this music, and makes you want to fall in love, move on to the next person out of that bad relationship, and makes you want to have all of these different emotions and feelings. And as an artist, you can relate in some sort of way. They don't like being the same. And for us as the consumers, for the listeners, it's just like, we want something different. And Beyonce gave us something different. She's not singing Crazy in Love all the time. She's going to sing about 16 carriages. She's going to sing about being a tyrant. She's going to sing about Levi's jeans. That's what Beyonce does. She's an artist that you can't place in a box. The same for Prince. The same for Aretha Franklin. Remember, if you sing Respect, Aretha was like, no, we're going to do this gospel album. Yeah, I can sing Respect all day long, I can sing about being a natural woman. I can sing about what's another song she did? A rose is still a rose. But I'm gonna do this gospel album.
You know the key
And
thing you said, what the key thing you said was artists. They're true
yes,
artists, right? But right now in the record industry, they just want gimmicks. Everybody sound the same. All these new singers, they sound the same. Everybody wants to sound like
come right
Rihanna.
off of TikTok.
And they
We're not
all,
in the
yeah,
age of
they don't
yeah.
have no more. Like when we came up, Al Green sound different than Teddy Pendergrass, than Barry White, than the the OJs and the Manhattans and the Stylistics and the Ohio Players and Slade, Earth, Wind and Fire, Isley Brothers, Rick James, Cameo. I mean, they all had different style because they were artists. They were true musicians and they had their own voice. Well, right now with this AI and this manufacturing stage, even this whole thing with the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef, right? Drake is a very talented person, very talented, super talented. But what I come to find out was that he has a great ear, so he can mimic whoever he's listening to. And so they created
But
him in a laboratory and they spoon fed him deeply and hyped his numbers up and made the man in hip hop and R&B. And then he lost his mind to a degree because he thought he was untouchable, and he picked on that David because he could call himself Goliath, and David had 5 smooth stones and he only needed one, and Kendrick cracked him in the head with that thing. And I ain't never seen nobody take an ass whooping like that in a rap beef, right? Where he just totally did. And then Kendrick went up to Toronto and smashed out 2 straight sold out shows, and his whole core fan base asking for it one more time. Lord have mercy. So my whole point is this: artistry is you got it. You got to have it. The industry, the music industry, is not the same no more. They right now trying to create AI artists, and sell it to you and sell it to you. So right now, as the consumer, we got to stop being having a steady diet of microwave entertainment, just add water entertainment. These fake facade pop artists that they prop up in front of you and dispose of them when they get out of line. We need to go back to the true nitty gritty, the true talented artists, and they're out there just being suppressed. And that's the reason why I love independent film. I love independent artists. I love finding the treasures, and it has nothing to do with color. It has everything to do with the passion. And if you got passion and you committed, you will find your tribe. So I tell people all the time, they was like, Derek, I want to act. I said, well, do you want to be famous or you want to act? Well, if you want to be famous, I can't help you with that. Because people who crown you can crucify you. But if you can act, you want to act. Now, you go to community theater, you take some acting class, you do a one-man stage play or one-woman stage play. And that will test you to see if you got what it takes to deal with the hard knock life. Because it ain't easy. Everybody think it's easy. And if it was easy, everybody would do it. This thing tests your mettle. I know plenty veterans with TV credits that quit the game because it just got so depressing with the rejection and having success and loss or never having success. So you got to do this thing. You got to figure this thing out and find a way to do it where it don't kill you and you kill it.
absolutely. And we're seeing the next generation of artists who I can say vocally out here, like a Coco Jones, like a Duran Bernard, and they've compared Duran to Prince because of just how I can't even describe it. This thing that Duran does, like he'll get on top, Prince would get up on top of the piano. He would do all sorts of stuff. This one performance in particular with him, James Brown, and Michael Jackson. And I will never forget that performance. Y'all know which one I'm talking about, where they were all on stage together. And what happened was the light pole, there was this light fixture. Prince got on top of the light fixture, literally almost in a way went crowd surfing. So, I mean, he was just in a lane of his own. And Duran is the same way. But we see these next generation of artists like a Avery Wilson, a Duran Bernard, a Coco Jones, who is willing to craft and work on their craft and in their business and get out here and do what it takes to have that longevity.
Absolutely. And it's a lot more. It's a lot of wonderful, talented people. We don't lack in talent at all. We might lack in the business side of it. We might be getting robbed somewhere. We don't lack in no talent, for sure.
Not at all. Not at all. And it's because of that craft, that perfection, that doing the work, honing in, focusing. As I've referenced Beyonce, if you look at her daughter, Blue Ivy, you would go out there and you see Blue Ivy dance, and I'm like, she studied her mother. She studied her mother. The next generation is learning. They're studying these artists. The same for when she was in Destiny's Child. Destiny's Child studied, I remember in an interview, they were saying they watched En Vogue perform. They watched all of the girl groups that came before them perform. So it's all about studying the artists and honing into your craft. 100%.
And not only studying the artist, you got to study the business. I read a book a while ago called An Empire of Its Own, How the Jews Built Hollywood. And that book showcased on the creation from Broadway to theater to television to movie houses to the studio to everything. And one of the things I got from it is they had a core fan base. And the entertainment business is recession proof because even when it was the Great Depression, people wanted to go see the silent films and they would pay that 10 cent to go see it. So the whole point of all that is once you know the business, then you can reverse engineer it so it can work for you. And that's what we build in a business model to reverse engineer. And it don't take a lot, just take passion, to take know-how and execution.
And as you mentioned with AI, it's critical that artists stand up and say, hey, this is me right here. You're not going to be able to use my voice or vocals for anything. Like there have been so many artists that passed on, from Prince to Whitney Houston to Tupac to Left Eye from TLC. There's so many. But AI is so powerful, they can take that person's voice and they can go out here and they can put it on anything else and make a song out of it. And it's just
Oh
like
my God.
the family, the estate does not play, especially Tupac's. And I can tell you for the Whitney Houston estate, they don't play at all.
Yeah, you right about that. And even with when they had the strike in Hollywood with the extras, that they were taking
Oh, yeah.
extras and giving them like maybe $75. They was put them in this room and it would digitally take them so they can use it later on. Therefore, they can digitally input extra work and not have to pay extras for coming on the set. And it's just criminal because they got the money. They got the money. Greed is the number one thing. So, we have to keep an eye on these people because they are unscrupulous and they don't deal with ethics. And, they've been at it for 100 years. So we have to hold their foot to the fire.
Absolutely. And speaking of the fire and the storm, now your film, Gale and the Storm, which is a semi-biographical story. You are the director, you are the co-writer, producer, and you've worked alongside one of the most powerful women that I've been mentioning. She's one of my favorite singers, and that is Karen White. Now, this project, what is it like having her as an artist? Come on and play an artist.
When her and I co-wrote this together, we loosely based it on her life, loosely.
Mm,
And one of the key things is that we wanted to make it like not as predictable as you would see any other film of this kind. So I always tell people like go check it out. It's on Tubi, Gale, Gale and the Storm. I'm really just thankful that she allowed me to direct it because she could have got anybody, and she allowed me to co-star with her in it. And it was a dream of mine from when I wrote it down in high school, being a writer, director, actor, producer, and it came true with this project. And we got many more to do. But one thing about Karen is she's a hard worker. Like nobody gonna outwork her. She gonna die on the treadmill. We was doing 20-hour days. Let me tell you, we would get up, we I would go film, and then she would go if she wasn't shooting that day and I was shooting, she would be in the studio laying down the soundtrack. So when you seen her in the movie laying down the soundtrack, when she was actually laying down the soundtrack to the album, where she cut, I think that the soundtrack got 11 songs on it. She cut 8 of them, maybe. It might have 12 songs. She cut 8 out of the 12 songs by herself in the studio, one take. Shout out to DOA, Derek Allen, who's the producer and composer of the soundtrack. Nevertheless, we put in work. And not only did she acted her ass off in the movie. Like I was telling her, like, you're not Karen White, you Gail Storm. So you ain't gonna be as glamorous as you really are. We gonna bring the beauty down to a degree, even though she was beautiful in the movie. But we just didn't want to glam it all the way up. And she was raw. And I mean, she really need to be working somebody's sitcom and somebody's films, because she really put in the work. And I ain't saying that because I know it. I'm saying it because it's true. Because we don't sugarcoat over there. One thing about Karen, if you suck, she gonna let you know you suck, and she ain't sugarcoating nothing. She worked with all the greats. She started out 16 years old. She wrote a song for Stephanie Mills. She took the money, put it into a demo instead of buying a car. The demo got heard by Jeff Lorber. She ended up signing her deal. But prior to that, she was singing background for O'Brien with Don Cornelius. Then when she got with Jeff Lorber, the deal was if the song went top 20 or something like that, it went top 10, she got her own deal. So she was signed directly to the label. Not no production deal. Not no, I signed to that dude, to sign to that dude, to sign to that. No, she was signed directly to the label. And she had Benny Medina was her A&R. Larkin Arnold was her manager, who did the Thriller contract for Michael Jackson and got Michael Jackson that Thriller money. You hear me? Larkin Arnold. She had Clarence Avant was in there, The Godfather. She had Al Heyman doing the touring for her, where she was on the Bobby Brown tour. She had worked with Babyface in L.A., right? She was the Tony Braxton before Tony Braxton. And then she was married to Terry Lewis from Jam and Lewis. So she had an all-star lineup. Ernie Singleton was her one who broke the records. We just saw him in Vegas last week. So the whole thing is she had an all-star lineup. She left the industry at the height of her career. That's what Gail Storm is about. She came back. She made a revolutionary music producer who I was portraying after Jay King from Club Nouveau, who actually sold 3 million independently, and he merged hip hop and rap together. While Full Force did it on the East Coast, he did it on the West Coast. So he was our manager, and we put that together, and I'm just really proud of this movie, and I implore everybody to go check it out.
Definitely, definitely. And we need more and more stories like this. Daniels Jerry says, love Karen White. We all do. She has significantly made an impact for so many women in the business, because if it wasn't for Karen or Mary J. Blige or Shantae Moore, we keep forgetting Shantae, or Tony Braxton, as you mentioned, so many of these women, we wouldn't have a Coco Jones, a Jasmine Sullivan, a Fantasia, the next generation, Melanie Fiona, so many female artists that are coming out right now that we see out here if it wasn't for Karen. So she would be in our Mount Rushmore. Like I said, when she did the Freedom for the Panther soundtrack, to see all of these amazing female artists from Aaliyah, and I still to this day cannot believe that, because she has so much.
And Sade was one of her influences as well too. Like I said, artists study other artists. She studied Sade. You could tell for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And to see Aaliyah, watching Karen in the video with Aaliyah, you got Pebbles and you got TLC, In Vogue. It was so many at that time. Joy, forgot about Joy, Joi, forgot about her. It's so many. But Karen has paved the way for so many female artists and women out here. She's empowering. So
And I'm
shout
gonna
out
tell
to
you
her.
right now, if you ever can catch her live with her band, is something to see. You know, I'm on the road with her, but every time I just witness something spectacular. She like Prince and Michael Jackson and Tina Turner wrapped up in one in high heels, and she's gonna give you it. She's gonna give the business. She's gonna let it out. She's gonna let it out, and we've been getting rave reviews, and we're really excited about where we're headed with this these shows.
Is it on Netflix, your film? That's what Daniels Jerry asked.
No, no, my film is on Tubi right now. It's on Tubi, Gale and the Storm, Gale and the Storm. Check it out. It's a feature film, and you know we're really excited about it. I got a lot of rave reviews. Robert Hooks who's the founder of the Negro Ensemble Group, which is Negro Ensemble Company, which is the launching pad from black theater from the '60s with Billy D. Williams, Cicely Tyson, Morgan
Oh yeah.
Freeman, Samuel L. Jackson, Esther Rowe, Al Freeman, Adolph Caesar. Moses Gunn, all the top black actors that come, Roscoe Lee Brown, all came out of that ensemble group that he helped found it. Robert Hooks is Kevin Hooks' father. And when he saw Gale in the Storm, he called me up and he was like, gave me all the accolades and told me I was a great director, writer, and actor, and he was proud of me. So he's like my film mentor. He's like 83 years old. And when I go to LA, I go see him. So, you know, I just was in Atlanta and saw his son Kevin Hooks, who played in Sounder and is a director. He was in White Shadow, and he's a serious director. And I just saw him, and we was chopping it up. So I'm just honored that I was able to, you know, jumpstart my career and doing the things that I set out to do without having any compass whatsoever. Just going out and searching for my treasure. And when I found it, I found out the treasure was within, and it was me.
Amazing. And what advice would you give to everybody else on discovering their treasure, their talent, just their hitting greatness? And you've mentioned Esther Roll. For a little bit, I don't know if you guys know this or not, Esther Roll put out a gospel album.
Mm.
It's out there somewhere. Yes, she put it out there, but it's not really her singing. It's more so her doing spoken word or Bible verses and things like that. So y'all go and check it out. It's out there.
You, the advice I give people is you got to work. Like, you got to work. It's going to require sacrifice. To anything that has value attached to it got struggle attached to it.
Mm,
So you can't get something without nothing. You got to give up something that you like: sleep, food, sex, that bad relationship, something that you are addicted to. You got to give it up. It's a sacrifice. I ain't talking about no blood sacrifice with the Illuminati. I'm talking about a personal sacrifice, and you got to reinvent yourself. And you got to be honest with yourself. Some people do it out of vanity. Oh, I just want to be famous. Well, that's fleeting, and it might not happen. So you got to be honest. I knew down deep inside it would never go away. That was something in me I had to get out, or I was going to be depressed. Artists got to create. Creators got to
yes.
create. You will be depressed if you don't. If you're going to write that book, write that book. It's only if you just cheat it, man. When I did stand up, I would work on a set for 5 minutes, a 5 minute set, because I only could do that in open mic. And I perfected that. Then I add another 5 minutes to it. And before I know, I had a 20-minute set so I could go open up for somebody. If you're going to write a book, write a page a day, a paragraph a day until you create a habit. But you got to do something, because I'm going to tell you something right now. And this is mathematics, supreme mathematics. If you do nothing, nothing will happen. And you wait till next year may not come. It ain't going to never be perfect. You can't say I'm going to wait till my son goes, I can't wait till I get a divorce. I got to wait till I lose the weight. It ain't going to never be perfect. Take the imperfection, take your imperfected self and make it happen. And I'm telling you, you will find miracles in that. And even if it don't work out, take it back, reanalyze it, and do it again. And don't quit. Now, this is only for the warriors. Because if it was easy, everybody would do it. This is only for the warriors, because God will test you every step of the way to see who are the truthful ones and who are the liars. That's my advice.
So we touched on music, we touched on film. Is another artist that I want to, and she just celebrated 30 years of her passing yesterday. Phyllis Hyman. We
Oh,
talk about artists being depressed, and she went through that. She went through that depression. Her music was her saving grace. The music is what saved her. So to anybody out here who is going through a dark cloud, a dark period, your creativity can be genius to save you. You never know what a person's story is. And I can remember so many artists out here saying, hey, by me doing this or recording this song, this is me sharing myself with the world. But this song saved my life because if I didn't record this song, I would not be here. There have been so many stories like that where people have woke up out of comas. Literally, music is powerful.
oh,
Film and creativity is powerful. It
oh, yeah.
saves your life. I do what I do, and I told one of my guests just last week, I said, the reason why I do this platform is because it brings me joy. It is therapeutic for me to bring joy to people each and every day, to tell stories, to listen to people tell their stories and share bits and pieces of myself with the world as well too. And I think that it is key and critical that we continue to keep using our creativity to help and inspire and encourage people. Old Friend is my favorite. Uh, One of her albums, it would have to be, I think, is it Under Her Spell, where she's got on the black dress and she's peeping around it. If you know, you know. Yes.
Yeah,
I was told not to mess with the vinyls in the house. And one of the vinyls that I saw growing up was Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes.
right,
And then it was Stephanie Mills as well, too.
right.
So you were told not to bother those vinyls. If you grew up in the black household, you were told not to bother
Yeah,
your
I can
father's
dig it.
vinyl.
I, I can
And
dig
if
it.
they skip or scratch, Derek, you know, you in trouble.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be some furniture moving for sure. Let me
Ooh,
say this: pain comes out of when the best creativity comes out of pain. The best creativity comes out of the blues. You think about it. Muddy Waters, B.B. King, Bobby Blue
ooh.
Band, Robert Johnson, all those old blues musicians, they had so much pain coming up out of Jim Crow South, being less than a man by the establishment. So a lot of them, Billie Holiday,
Mm.
Sarah Vaughan, Diane Washington, all the great singers of our day, Little Richard, James Brown, all come up out of pain and misery and suffering. And that is what we were able to attach to, attract to know about. And it actually gave you fuel. It made you feel good. Like you said, music is medicine to the soul. And music is also at 432 hertz can heal you. It can heal you. But that heavy metal that they put at whatever 700 some hertz, that can brainwash you and kill you. So you have to, it's a fine balance with everything. But what you said is so true. And so artists have to create and do something, find a way to do something to create. Painters paint, writers write, singers sing. And even if you ain't getting money for it, do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. You owe it to yourself.
And it can save your life. And yes, she did have a powerhouse. Stephanie Mills, as it pertains to that, The Wiz. The Wiz is where I first saw her. And then I went, and my father, the time we were going to New York, had her greatest hits album. And she's got the gold, the curly hair. So I remember exactly what it was. And the first song that I heard from her was Never Knew Love Like This. And then Never Knew Love Like This Before. And then what's the other song that she did? You're Putting a Rush on Me. And I went
Right.
back and I seen the video. This tiny little woman with this powerful voice, and she growled like a lion. I'm like, okay. I would have been what, 12, 13 years old when I seen one of her performances or one of her music videos. So it just goes to show you how music has an impact and inspires the next generation. Because I'm giving my age away. I'm a millennial. I'm 31. So I was born in the era of Karen White, Tony
Okay.
Braxton, Johnny
Okay.
Gill, New Edition, Aaliyah, Brandy, Monica, Escape, TLC, SWB. Whitney, so many artists are in that era, the 90s era, in vogue, of course. And I mean, It's different eras. The next generation is starting to pick up on millennials and going back and listening to this music. So it's just amazing how you can go back and watch a performance now and the test of time and how it's been remastered. And people will be like, as if it happened yesterday. Wow, this was years ago. Years ago.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I remember. I mean, I come from an era where I listened to jazz and blues,
Mm.
soul music, and then my era we created hip hop. So we have a wide range of even pop music and classic rock. I ain't on front. I mean, there's a lot of rock songs that I listen to that I'm fond of. I ain't really get off no heavy metal, nothing like that. But I'll listen to some classic rock in a heartbeat because it makes me feel good. Three River Band or um, Doobie Brothers or Journey or Foreigner, Led Zeppelin, whatever. The Queen, the Bee Gees,
Oh,
right? So, the list go on and on. But having said all that, music takes you places where you remember where you were when you heard that song, and it makes you even. Can you hear me now?
there we go. You must have got a call because it throws
Yeah,
your sound out.
I'm
Go
sorry, I
ahead.
forgot what I was talking about. Just anyway, music is so key to
Yes.
healing, and it takes you back to where you can remember what you were doing when you first heard that song. You know what I mean? I remember me and Mrs. Jones, my mother used to clean the house playing that. Or
Mm.
Luther, never too much. Christmas time, she'd be playing Luther or something. And I just remember, I mean, it's just so fun. It's so sweet to have that luxury of listening to classic music.
And you said jazz. I'm a big Miles Davis fan. So when I
Oh, yeah.
think of jazz, I think of Miles Davis. I think of George Duke. I think of those artists. Yes, I'm an R&B girl. I love my Karen White. I love Shantae Moore. I love Toni Braxton, Phyllis Hyman. Uh, who's another female artist that I love? Lisa Fisher. And I feel as though Lisa Fisher does not get her just due. She's worked. You mentioned Luther. She's worked with Luther Vandross. She was one of
Right,
his singers. And
right.
she blew, if you go back and you watch her performance at the Apollo,
She's incredible.
compared to her performances today,
Yeah,
Lisa Fisher, y'all, how can I ease the pain, Lisa Fisher?
right,
Y'all need to go back and check that performance out.
right, right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know what? I really appreciate you inviting me on your show, Stevie. I had a ball with you this last hour or so. And thank you for having me. Let me know if there's anything I could do for you in the future. I'll be honored to help you out.
I would love to have you back on again. This was so great. We are both music heads. You're working with a music icon, and it is so amazing to be able to dish on this. We need an escape. We need music. It's going to be a lot of tours that are going on. You've got Brandy and Monica's on tour. Beyonce is on tour right now. There's going to be a lot of concerts. We needed some music. We need some black film. We need black everything. So we needed that escape, that out.
Blackity black black.
Yes, 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 yes. So before we let you go, Derek, any final words or any gems that you would like to leave to people on just the times, just creativity, or anything? What advice would you give?
I'm gonna say this. It's never too late. It's
Mm,
only late when you're dead, right? If you want it bad enough, regardless of your circumstances, regardless if you broke, you sit. If you ain't dead, it ain't never too late. You can change your life with a thought. You just got to get up and do it, but you got to constantly practice it. And it's more than being motivated. It's more than being inspired. You got to have discipline. Get up, turn the TV off, get secluded, talk to people, find a mentor. You just got to do it. And with the advent of AI, I would tell people, look, if you got AI on your phone and you got a goal, write it in the AI. Help me become this. I don't know what it is. How should I go about this? This is my circumstances. This is what I got. I would like to have a career like such and such, whoever your idol is or whatever you admire. And it will spit it out. And then you could tell it, hey, give me a plan to do it. And it will spit it out. Now, the next thing is you got to do it. And you got to do it. And keep doing it until you start seeing progress. Because it's the universe will test you. I don't care what AI spit out. It will test you. It will tell you no. And no to me just means not right now. But if you doing whatever, give it a try, because you'd be surprised what can happen. Everybody think about what if it don't happen. Well, what if it does?
Mm.
What if it does happen? What does the other side of greatness look like? You know, I remember a time where I was struggling. I was in the abyss. I mean, God blessed me to levitate myself out of the abyss. And now people who know my story are inspired by me. They're inspired that I changed my life for the better, that I got out of my circumstances, and they're in awe of what I've been able to accomplish in a relatively short period of time. It happened overnight, but I ain't know where I was 20 years ago, and I ain't where I'm going to plan to be the next month or 6 months. So I tell people, if you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out, because desire feeds the will. And you just have to figure out how bad you want it and be willing to put it in play and go for it. Because nobody coming to save you. Nobody. I don't care how much you pray. You pray, you get up, but faith without works is dead. So you got to get your ass up and get out and go get it. Period. On your mama.
Didn't I say that, fashion dolls? Didn't I say that? I said you can pray, but faith without work is dead. Didn't I say that, Alvin? You've heard me say that. So shout out to my colleague Alvin Tit and Tat. This for that. Make sure you guys go and check out his platform. Another shout out to my brother K Tooks, host of the K Tooks Spot. Make sure you guys please go and check out his
Ooh,
platform. But I have said that K Tooks. His name is the K Tooks Spot.
nice. And before I go, I want to just plug my book that I wrote called
Yes.
Guerrilla Film Grind, How to Make a Movie for Little or Nothing. You can get it. You can find me on Instagram. Hit me up in the DM. I'll show you how to get it. The book is $20, but it talks about what I did in the process of making Gale in the Storm. And it's a practical, inspirational how to do it when you have nothing. You just got to have some courage and some grit.
And look at that, to all the up and coming filmmakers who are just like, what do I do? Get that book right there. Get that. Another thing, make sure you guys are going and supporting Mechadon Films. Film Grind. Gorilla, make sure you guys go and get it, Fashion Dolls. Make sure you guys go and check out Gale and the Storm alongside with Derek. You've got Derek and you've got the beautiful Karen White. Make sure you guys go and check it out. And Daniels Jerry, how did you know that? You know this is a fashion-based platform. He said he loves your Tom Ford glasses.
Ah, you got great taste. Great taste. Thank you.
The dolls be knowing that. That's why I call them the fashion dolls. They know their labels. Y'all know it. And he
Thank
has one question before you leave, Derek, and then I'm gonna get the final thought. He says, who would you like to work with in the future?
Man, somebody else asked me that. Wow. You know, I would say Denzel. And the only reason why I say that is because when I'm in acting class, I've been what they said I was similar to Denzel. So I would love to work with Denzel, whatever capacity, being his son, his little brother, his partner, or the villain. It don't matter. I would love to get showed up by Denzel Washington in the movie and see if I can hold my own. So yeah, Denzel, he would be ideal for me. I might have to get him the next Black Panther movie. Who knows? I'm gonna put that out in the universe. Give me a villain role or hero. It don't matter.
I'm putting it out there. I'm manifesting it. It could. Who knows? It could happen.
It would be surprised. I ain't even tripping. What's mine is mine. I ain't even worried about it. God ain't never gave somebody else your blessings.
That part. And I want y'all all to take away from that. Today's final thought, which ties into everything we touched on in this conversation, which is on creativity, being a Black artist, being a Black filmmaker, is everything Black. Today's final thought comes from Sylvia Plath, and she says the worst enemy to creativity is self-doubt. As Derek just stated, you're going to get a lot of no's. It could be no, not right now in this business. For any actor, you're going to go to a lot of go-sees or casting calls, and the line can be wrapped all the way around the curve for somebody who's going for the same exact role as you. It could be no, not right now. And Derek, I watch a lot of TED Talks. So it was one TED Talk where this gentleman went and pitched something for, I think, a pharmaceutical company. And the brand owners was just like, no, not right now. And he came back the next few weeks, months, and he got that position. So it just goes to show you that no is a no, not right now.
Fact,
Absolutely. Kathy Yvette says, greetings, brothers. That's right. What is for you is for you.
facts, facts, facts. And I said it earlier. I'm gonna say this again, and I want people to. If you do nothing, nothing will happen. And live as long as you can, because you're gonna be dead even longer.
And now's the time to live authentically. Now's the time for everybody to use their voice, their platforms, create, whether it's through music, whether it's through film. They are trying to take away everything that is Black out of this country, but we are deeply ingrained here. And it is important that we use our creativity, our resources. I'm always going to be here, and y'all know that I support everything Black. So y'all continue to support this platform, and I thank y'all so much. Y'all have shown me nothing but love and support. And if I'm not mistaken, this is interview 824. We are well off on the road
Wow.
to 1,000 shows. So thank you all
Congratulations.
so much
Wow.
for your love, for your support. And that's because of that drive, that grind, not giving up, and self-doubt, as Kathy just said in the quote. So live authentically, live in color, be bold, and take chances as far as your career, as far as your goals, as far as your creativity, as far as your passion. Make sure that you are following what sets your soul on fire. And I'll close the show with that. So, Derek, let everyone know where they can follow you and check you out, because I'm definitely going to bring you back on again. I had a fabulous time.
I appreciate it. Oh, you can follow me on Instagram at the Derek Muhammad, TheeE, three E's, Derek Muhammad, DerrickMuhammad. Follow me, and I'll hit you back. I appreciate it.
All right, Fashion Dolls. And there you have it. Make sure y'all join me tomorrow. Joining me tomorrow, we have Merrick MacArthur joining me. So make sure you guys tune in. And again, be intentional about doing something. Put your creativity to use and don't just sit on your talent. Get up and get those juices flowing. If you want to get out here and focus on filmmaking, there's courses you can take. You can take dramatic arts, go to a college. There's instructors who is willing to teach you. You can go to school for the arts. Yes, you can. You can go to film school. I believe you can. So take that opportunity. If this is something you want to do, invest and save more than ever. Invest and save. So many resources out here. I love you all, Fashion Dolls, and this interview will be uploaded to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Join me tomorrow, and make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be notified when new interviews are posted. Till next time, dear friends, take care, Fashion Dolls.